Oh, no, here we go. Please hold. All right, so in 3, 2, 1, go.
A massive welcome to all crime fans out there and a special good day to everybody following along on social media and everywhere you get your pods. This pod, the Killer Storyteller podcast, isn't just about the books between writer and reader. It's about catching up and having a good old chat about everything else in between. Let's bring in the other half of the Killer Storyteller podcast and get cracking with another episode, our 15th. Hey, Kristy, how's it going, mate?
G'day, Rach. It's going great, thanks, and it's awesome to see you. How about you? How are you doing?
Yeah, really good. Thanks, Kristy. It's a chilly day here, even though it's spring, but the blossoms out in the garden, on the plum tree, on the cherry tree.
Beautiful.
Really cute.
Oh, it's good. We're going in the opposite, so everything's dropping off. So all the leaves are starting to turn, and it is super pretty. But autumn in Melbourne is the most beautiful time. Cool, crisp nights, but gorgeous, gorgeous days. So actually might even get another swim in the next couple of days. It's going to be 27.
Oh, gorgeous.
Nice,
27
nice.
in autumn. Do you
Yeah.
realise how that verges on just rudeness? Saying that to a Brit.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's autumn's so pretty in Melbourne. It's 27 degrees. I think I'm going to stop podding now. Let's do one.
Oh, but seriously, 15 episodes. How awesome is that? We are absolutely loving this podcast, and we hope you guys are too. All right, you've already read that bit about Britain.
Yeah, but I got a bit confused there.
Do you know, I am so excited to record this episode, Rach. And let me say, Rach, I read this book just like our mate Kath Day Knight. Kath and Kim reference, everybody.
Oh, God,
but I've just reread it again to refresh my memory. And geez, what an absolute ripper this one is, Rach.
All right, guys, you know the drill. There'll be no spoilers in this episode, but we will chat about themes and storylines, but not the ending. And if you're new to the pod, welcome. You can dive in anywhere. If you're reading Little Doubt or you're just starting it, don't worry. We try our utmost to not spoil it for you. Drop us a line if you're reading it or if you have read it. As always, it doesn't matter where you are in the series or even if you're just starting. We'll try not to give anything away. But before we start to dig into Little Doubt, here's a few key bits of information on the book. So it was written in 2020 and published in 2020 as well. The year everything changed for us. Bonkers to think about that now. So I was stuck in lockdown writing this. So it won't come as a surprise, I don't think, that, COVID was a really productive time for me because it just got all that time at home, writing with no distractions.
Yeah.
Our kids were teenagers, and so they were really easy. They were doing their homework and stuff like that. So it was a strange bubble, and I produced a lot of work during that time. Like all Kelly novels, it only took a couple of months to finish once I had the story set in my head. And the main theme of this book is quite a hard hitter. It's knife crime in the UK. Something very close to my life at the time, because my teenagers were just at that age where they get sucked into gangs and local violent crime, just like in the book. It was, and in that sense, it was a departure for me in that the book is very urban rather than rural in that sense. So that makes it quite new. And finally, it's late autumn, one of my favourite seasons in the Lake District. And if you listen to the last podcast on blood rights, you'll know why. Now, this is my favourite bit, when Kristy puts a whole 90,000 word book into a 100 word soundbite, and she nails it every single time. Over to you, Kristy.
Oh, right. This was so hard because this book is just phenomenal. And 100 words doesn't cut it or do it justice. And I have written this 100-word summary about 100 times to try and get it right, because there's a lot of pressure here, folks. All right, Rach, here we go. And it's a bit over 100 words, but not too much. Little Doubt sees D.I. Kelly Porter pulled into a chilling double murder when two women from opposite worlds are killed, stabbed in broad daylight. One a healthy housewife, the other dismissed as just another statistic. As Kelly juggles both cases, she faces a force more concerned with reputation than justice and a growing suspicion from within her own team. Set against the silence and fear of the Beacon Estate and Wordsworth Towers, this story digs deep into class divide, police corruption, and loyalty. It's gripping, confronting, and razor sharp, and where every lead is questioned and every motive matters. And when chaos rules, everyone's a suspect. An absolute complete page turner and 5 stars from me. I just love this book.
Oh, nice one, Kristy. Absolutely nailed it, as always.
Well,
What a great... It's like reading a review. It's brilliant. Love it.
Right.
Yeah.
It took me ages to write that 100 words because I just couldn't nail every aspect of the storyline, because this is a really intense read, but it's a really another brilliant read, and a total fave of mine. Rach, Little Doubt is it really hits you between the eyes right from the very, very start, and I couldn't read it fast enough, and I really love this story so much, Rach. It was really different to the other books, and you've just touched on that, particularly with the urban location, and the crime style was also the biggest difference as well.
Yeah, that was a challenge for me, but a really good thing to do as well. I really enjoyed sort of nailing that that aspect of it, because there is urban crime in Cumbria. I probably give the impression that it's all rolling hills and lakes and beautiful, but there's quite a lot of crime in the Lake District, because a lot of drugs, for example, have been pushed out the cities. So yeah, that was an interesting aspect for me as well. Right, should we crack on? Let's go. Just before we crack on, Kristy, I know that you'll have to edit this out, but you said healthy instead of wealthy about Ella in your blurb. Does that matter? One, a wealthy housewife, the other dismissed as just another statistic. You said healthy instead of wealthy.
Oh, did I?
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Did I say
Should we just ignore it?
Did I say healthy?
Yeah.
She was healthy before she died. Should I reread it? I'm happy to reread it.
Yeah, go on then.
All right. And Ben just texted me, said to say hi.
Oh, bless him. It'd be nice to see him again, actually.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart. All right. Little Doubt sees D.I. Kelly Porter pulled in. Oh, here we go. Little Doubt sees D.I. Kelly Porter pulled into a chilling double murder when 2 women from opposite.
Oh, God. This is going to be an absolute nightmare, isn't it?
What about if I just read the healthy bit, the wealthy bit?
Can you splice it?
Maybe.
Yeah, so just read that one sentence.
Yeah. One, a healthy...
I've done it again.
Oh, fuck.
She was healthy before she was dead. You're going to have to put that bit in.
One, a wealthy housewife. The other dismissed as just another fuck. Come on, you can do it. One, a wealthy housewife. The other dismissed as just another statistic. As Kelly juggles both cases, she faces a force more concerned with reputation than justice and a growing suspicion within her own team. All right, cool. Okay, so now I'm going to go to, you said in your intro.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You said in your intro that a central theme in Little Doubt is knife crime. And I must say, Rach, this was hard to read at first. That chapter 1 is a big hitter. Why did you decide on this?
Yeah, it's a big, heart-wrenching opener, reminiscent of Bitter Edge. Remember that one? Jenna jumping off the cliff.
Yeah.
In number 4. So we've got Ella, a mum and a wife, going on a jog, thinking about her busy day like a normal average busy woman might. and then she's attacked in the most brutal way, and it's a sobering revelation that sets the scene for the rest of the book. Yeah, it was difficult to write, and like I said, it was on my mind at the time because of the age of my own children. I felt as though my life could potentially be touched by that because it's all over the news in the UK. It still is. It's getting worse. Knife
Okay.
crime here. We get stories weekly. And so it was on my mind, and I just felt as though I had to write about it.
Yeah. And Ted and Kelly are on fire in this one, Rach. And Kelly and Johnny are just back from a great holiday in the Florida Keys, and wham, she's straight into it.
Yeah, I know. It's gutting, isn't it? You can
Yeah.
just see them on that yacht off the Florida Keys, and she's got to come back to work. It's as if she's never left. But what an absolute bummer, a case like this after being in paradise, literally.
Yeah.
But straight away, in chapter 2, we've got Ted making conclusions about Ella's murder. And I love it when Ted and Kelly work together
Yeah.
with the input of crime scene officers. They begin to piece together their leads right from the very beginning, giving the reader the opportunity to do that too. So what was your first impression of that chapter 1, Kristy, the murder of Ella?
Oh, it was so shocking. And I'll get to this a little bit more in detail down the back end of this pod. But it was just really shocking to me. And then we get to the second crime on the housing estate, which is not far from where Ella was murdered. And Rach, this was absolute contrast in how the killings were perceived deliberate. And you're touching on police nonchalance there. What made you do that?
Yeah, I just think that I don't like storylines to be too straightforward and predictable, and it just hit me that this woman who seemed to have it all, and when we meet her family, she lives on this beautiful house lives in this beautiful house on Ullswater, an idyllic life. She's got everything, and it's not unusual for historic cases in this country to do this. The people being treated differently because of their background,
Yeah,
and then
right.
that huge contrast to Kira on the housing estate. So yeah, it was absolutely deliberate, and I wanted that push and pull, that moral dilemma from the very, very beginning. I mean, ironically, my daughter is now studying sociology at uni. This is 6 years later,
Yeah.
and she investigates theories like this, and why some victims are treated differently. The most famous example here in the UK was the Yorkshire Ripper,
Yeah.
and how disparaging views of the victims, mostly being prostitutes, which actually most of them weren't, delayed the investigation because so much prejudice against the police office amongst the police officers back then. So writing about the different ways victims are perceived, Ella from her cosy middle class background, then Kira from the Beacon estate, and was really important. And then that gave me an opportunity to create Sharon Bradley, the absolute whirlwind, who is the one who is the force behind the whole investigation, as it turns out.
Oh, Sharon, what an absolute ripper. And she's a really important character. She's gritty and she's honest. And like Kelly, her moral compass is unquestionable. And they connect so well, don't they, Rach? Even though they're from such different backgrounds. Was this something that you needed to explore a bit more in the book? And it's the first time you've done a social commentary like this?
Yeah, and again, just sort of carrying on from that seed of an idea, when that first happens, and they decide to go with a direction in a story, then you're committed. And that's why the urban setting was so important. Sharon is a tour de force. It's because of her that Kira, her daughter, gets the same airtime as Ella in the press. I loved creating Sharon. I had a message from a reader years ago telling me that there are no housing high-rise estates in Penrith,
Okay.
and she was quite cross, and she told me off. But this is fiction, and sometimes you need a vehicle to get your point across. This is about gangs and knives, and so the estate setting had to work. One of the biggest towns with the biggest crime in Cumbria is Barrow-in-Furness, but that's too far away. That's South Cumbria. That's not Kelly's Patch. So I had to
Ah,
have a little bit of artistic license. And that in that estate setting, Sharon is a boss-assed woman who
yeah.
knows how to play that game. So she was a really important vehicle for this story.
Do you remember when we chatted with Marion? She also came across something very similar as well, Rach.
Yes, people get very protective
Yeah,
over their territories. Yeah, and it's not common, thankfully. But some people don't like it. But that's absolutely fine, and that's why there are so many different books out there. You can choose one that stays authentic, or which mine 99.9% of the time do to Cumbria.
yeah,
Or you can choose somebody who creates a place. I didn't want to do that. But yeah, Marion's had that too. I think all writers get messages from readers that put us in our place, and they tell us what they didn't like, which is absolutely fine. I don't get offended by that. It's their personal opinion,
yeah, yeah,
and I love hearing the good and the bad.
yeah,
So it
yeah.
doesn't bother me. It's not a problem.
Oh, that's good. This book is so raw, Rach. The brutality and the violence is real, and it slaps you in the face with problems of our time. What was going on in that mind of yours, Rachel?
I think after 6 or 7 books in a series, you do have room to start to comment on things that matter to you. And I felt really strongly, and I still do, about what's going on with youth in the UK.
Yeah,
It has got worse since Settled Out over the last 6 years, that's for sure. It's like brutal street rules, and the culmination at the end when Jordan makes the decision to infiltrate the gang and
yeah,
work from the inside. Seemed like something a kid would do, to avenge the death of his mom. Um, I also think that in this book, the teenagers provide the moral courage going forward. They make the really brave decisions about right and wrong.
yeah.
They're very hard over on what they know is right and wrong. The action doesn't stray far from the concrete jungle in this one, and the rules are out there to be broken. I don't know, there's just something about a very small scene like the Penrith estate and keeping all the action there, which allowed me to keep it all very quick and intense. Did you get that impression?
Yeah, I did. And I think that's reflected in how quickly I read the book. I read it in just a couple of days. I couldn't put it down. And
Wow.
the storyline really, really stuck with me. And also that urban setting. Like normally we're in the hills, and we're, up and down all sorts of mountains in the Lake District. But yeah, this one really, really stuck with me. Actually, yesterday kind of read through it again. So that would be like the third time that I've read it. Just absolutely loved it. Um, as always with you, Rach, the detail is just insane. Ella's and Kiri's Ella's and Kira's autopsy scenes and the divers finding the knife. Where did you get your inspiration from that?
Well, if you're a big Kelly reader already, then you'll know that I love a good diving scene. That's
Yep.
that's from my own experience as a qualified sports diver back in my Cyprus days, when Mike and I were there when he was in the army. Um, I just love getting things like that in because the eerie underwater scenery and the coldness, the abandonment of that weapon in the lake provided such atmosphere. And equally, I can't write a Kelly without researching some new autopsy detail. It's a bit gruesome, but that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
And I think I've said this before, but in a past life, I would have been a forensic pathologist. But the wound patterns, for example, in this one was so important for Ted to work out exactly how the different crimes occurred and if they were connected. That was a
Yep.
really, really important part of the story. So
Yeah.
everything, all of the gory details are all in there for a reason, and hopefully, it's giving the reader more information. And they're like, oh right, okay, well, maybe maybe there wasn't just one perpetrator
Yeah.
for Ella.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all good stuff.
In that second chapter when Ted and Kelly are talking about that exact moment, about no, actually there had to be two people, two different knives. Yeah.
Yeah.
The subplot between Will, Liam, and Superintendent Neil Ormond is just heartbreaking. Without giving too much away, tell me a little bit more about that. How did that come about?
I think I grew tired of Kelly's superiors telling her how to run her own investigations, and it got my back up a bit. Because every time she goes to HQ, she dreads it, and it's always about somebody saying, "Oh, you haven't got enough money for this," or "Can we just wrap this up?" Or they're quite annoying. So I think that one started with wanting to put one of them firmly back in their box. That's when the idea hit to give Neil an ulterior motive for pushing her in one direction, and I just went with it, and it ended up giving him this past, which we won't say too much about.
Yep.
Will and Liam are great mates, but with a shared traumatic past, and it was so satisfying having them give their superior a bit of his own medicine. And so, it goes back to the point that we've talked about before. It's important to champion, the people trying to solve crime. It's also important not to have all coppers as the goodies, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of multi-layered inspiration for that plot line, really.
Yeah, that is a really good storyline with Will and Liam and how it all comes together in the end. Once you read it, you'll understand. But it was a really big part of the book as well, and has a big impact with Kelly too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You've really captured the whole force of the barricades and the march and the loudspeakers and the violence that breaks out. It's almost like a revolution, isn't it? And it's all started by Sharon. It's a great climax to the book.
Yeah, good old Sharon. She wasn't backing down, was she?
No.
And I think, in this book, emotions are running so high that I had to give them an outlet. And so the idea of a demo, seemed quite natural, really. And then, of course, the people involved with the case are going to turn up. So, Ted's there, Josie's there, and Millie and Tom. So Tom is Ella's husband, obviously grieving husband, and Millie is one of her children.
Yep.
And it was a vehicle for me for them all to get involved in the same scenes.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that actually in the end, the Cotton brothers weren't as big and hard as they thought they were. People power won out in the end, and the Cotton brothers got what they deserved. So that was quite satisfying as well to have that. But it was climactic plot wise, but it was climactic action wise as well. So I quite enjoyed writing those scenes.
That must have been fun to kind of pull all that together. And in your mind, you're just like, yeah, I'm going to do this because that totally makes sense. Is it like that for you? Is it like an aha moment?
Oh, yeah. There are definitely moments in a book where there are periods that I would call dry periods, where it's a real battle, and you're thinking, right, okay, where am I going with this? Right, I've got to do that. I've got to now put some details about the investigation, and the RAB jacket. Have they got that back from the lab yet? Let me check my notes. And there's periods like that, and then there's other sections like this, the riot scenes and things like that just really come so naturally, and they're an absolute joy to write. And that because you're enjoying writing it, the reader's really going to connect with it. Hopefully, I'm sure, if you're already a Kelly fan, you've got used to now the action scenes and Kelly's way of working. So yeah, sometimes you get scenes like that are just an absolute joy. And I think there's a momentum that starts to happen in writing a book as well of this size. It's quite an average size, 90,000 words, 100,000 words, 80,000 words sometimes. Around that is good for this sort of crime novel. I think if you're talking epic or historical, you go more. If you're sort of reality non-fiction, you go less. So this is about average, and of course that's a lot of words. And when you get to I chop it into sort of thirds, really. When you get to about 20, you should, because my books are about 60 chapters, aren't they? So when you get to about 20, you should have introduced all the characters, and the reader should have enough information to start thinking about what might be going on. And then that middle third is very much about the investigation and Kelly
Okay. Yep.
having her reveals. And then the last third is the climactic third. And that's obviously when this was. So by the time you get to the climactic third at the end, it's like you can't write, your fingers won't go quick
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you've got it in your head how it's all going to wrap up, but you honestly can't do it quick
Yeah.
enough. It's quite frustrating in a sense, but then that's a lovely problem to have.
And I love how you do. So I was just looking at Little Doubt and chapter 60. It's a month later. I love those
Mm.
things because then you're like, okay, we know there's been a period of time that's passed, and you kind of get a little bit more of the conclusions to some of the storylines that wrap up. We'll get to that in a sec. But alrighty,
Yeah,
guys. Oh, sorry.
no, I was just going to say that I love doing that because you're absolutely right. Because in reality, you don't get conclusions to crime investigations overnight. You know, it takes time. So I do like to sort of have that chapter at the end, which is a revisit.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it could be Kelly and Johnny chatting. It could be them going out on the boat, the Wendy. It could be, you know, a bit of big news like this one.
Yeah.
You know, there's more opportunity then to wrap things up.
Yeah, that must be really fulfilling too for you to kind of finish it off in that way. I like that. Alrighty, guys, you know what's next. As we come to the end of the episode, let's rip. Oh, shit, must be getting tired. Alrighty, guys, as you know what's. Oh. Alrighty, guys, you know what's next. As we come to the end of the episode, let's let rip with some rapid fire style questions, which also gives us a little bit more information on the book. And I have to say, Rach put her note, hang on, and I have to say, Rach put her notes in before I did. And then when I went to include mine, we had so many of the same kind of notes here. So that was really, really funny. So, Rach, I had to Google this. Tell me.
Okay, so drill music. My kids told me that this is what gangs listen to, and I don't think that's changed over here in the UK. It's like a violent, drug-fueled rap music that is banned from mainstream outlets, but really, really important to this story. And I was adamant that I wanted it kept in there because it's really important for people like Jackson, Akers, the Cotton Brothers, Tyrone. And in fact, one of the raps, when I was working out the story, I asked Tilly and her friends, so it's 6 years ago, so she's 21 next month, so she'd be 14. So I asked a bunch of 14-year-olds to come up with a drill rap for me. And on page 221, in chapter 33, the rap was actually written by one of my daughter's friends.
Is that
How cool is
right?
that?
So that's don't at me, blast the skeng. You know I blast the skeng. Free my guys from out the pen. Yeah, it's like I don't even know what it is. I hadn't ever heard of drill music before, Rach. So yeah.
There you go. What did you Google?
Well, I had to Google a rab jacket because I
No
was thinking,
way.
what the bloody hell's a rab jacket? But in Australia, when I Googled it, I was like, oh, it's a puffer jacket. So in Australia, and in particular here in Melbourne, where I am, 99.99999 recurring, people have a black puffer jacket. So yeah, we're all well known for our puffer jackets, and we get made fun of for, oh, it's a bit cold. Everyone in Melbourne's got their puffers on. So, and if you're at the football and they pan the camera around, you know, most people have got a black puffer jacket on. So that's
You
the
do
same.
realise that's going to have to go in one of my books now. That's such a good story. I love that. Yeah. So I'm going to have a character from Melbourne now who gets really cold in the Lake District and they get the black puffer out.
Yeah, and they're a coffee snob. So yeah, but my
Oh God, obviously.
my black puffer jacket losing a little bit of its puff. I think I need a new one.
And you got number one city in the world
For
recently.
coffee? Yeah.
No, for everything.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. Yeah, don't tell Ben, my cousin who's from Adelaide. Yeah,
Sydney
we
was
did get it. Yeah, Melbourne's a great place to visit if you haven't been here. It's bloody awesome.
Awesome.
All right, Rach, the best character and why? Who stole the show for you?
Oh, for me, it's Sharon Bradley. She's fierce, loyal, true to her word, and ballsy. I just love her. She's like a mama lioness fighting for her cub, and she's a real catalyst in the story. If it wasn't for her, Kelly would have found it almost impossible to solve the case. Almost. I absolutely love the penultimate scene at Christmas too, where Sharon is walking
Yes.
around Kelly's
Yes.
gaff pouring sherry, and they're celebrating the launch of the Ella Watson and Kira Bradley
Yeah.
Foundation.
Oh god, I just
What about
love
you,
that
Kristy?
scene. I love that scene, and, I've got actually 4 characters here, sorry. I'll be really, really quick, but Sharon,
Awesome.
she's such a sweetie, and for standing up for her daughter and the community on the estate. I just love that whole storyline, and Jackson for being so bloody smart, playing the game and keeping his nose clean, and Jordan and Millie, and they're the kids of Ella, who's been murdered in the first chapter. They're built of some really tough stuff, right? They might be from middle class, but they didn't stop for a moment to be brave and do something really, really hard in a super difficult time when their mum had been murdered. So I just love the ending for all 4 of those characters.
Oh, that's epic.
Yeah.
So the flip side of that
Yep.
then, worst character for you, Kristy?
Oh,
In a
Ormond
good or a
and the
bad way?
uh, in a bad way, Ormond and the Cotton Brothers, they were just despicable, awful people. Full stop.
Yeah.
How about
Yeah,
you?
and I've got Neil Ormond as well.
Yeah.
Arrogant, superior, a terrible reminder of what police corruption can lead to.
Yeah. What about your favourite quote or scene or something that stuck with you the most from this book?
So one thing that I chose was chapter 31, so about halfway. The news is on, and the London mayor is interviewed, and he's basically giving an interview on TV to the news and saying that knife crime is under control. Now, I wrote this in 2020, and the London mayor is still talking bullshit 6 months, 6 years on. They still come on TV and say that London knife crime is under control, and it's like the whole population just rolls their eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it is, mate. Um, and then so that stuck in my mind. And then I know I shouldn't like this scene, but on chapter 57, so quite near the end, it's quite satisfying. I'll try not to give a spoiler here, but it's really satisfying when Neil Ormond's wife finds him and the dog Raffles. It's quite kind of a full circle moment. Without spoilers, he got what he deserved.
Yeah, and again, that was exactly the same as mine. I just can't believe it. So I, again, had Raffles the dog in the Ormond's house, and when you read the book and you get to this part in the story, you'll just know what we're talking about. But the opening chapter is also the opening chapter for me was so good and descriptive, and I was with Ella the whole way, and the song playing on her iPod and how she was dying listening to Aha. It was just really awful, and she didn't like being on the cold concrete, and she didn't really know what was going on. And it's you're right with her right until she blacks out and dies. It just gave me chills reading it. It was really
Oh
incredible
wow!
writing. Because
You talking about it like that, just yeah,
yeah,
just
but
takes me back
you go
to
back
that
and read
scene.
that first chapter. She's not sure
Yeah,
what's going on, and the concrete's really cold, and one of her
yeah.
earbuds has popped out, and she can hear that song on the radio. Yeah, so that was just an absolute shocker. What about Kelly Porter? Favorite moment?
So an example of the Kelly nose that I love when she susses out that Neil Ormond is perhaps hiding something, and she recalls the Tomb Day case from Dark Game. Um, I love sort of sticking things in from other books, and the utter wrong-uns in that case, Colin Day and Barry Crawley. I just love her instincts. So it was a really, really good example of that. And then another of my favourite bits with Kelly is the very, very last line. And it's a big reveal and a huge spoiler, so I can't repeat it, but
Yeah.
big changes coming in Kelly's life.
Yeah, that was also on my favourite list too. You're really good at doing that, just leaving it's like a mic drop moment. It's like, boom, done.
Oh,
You've done that a
awesome.
couple of times. But one of mine was Kelly coming home after the counter-corruption interview, and she's absolutely knackered from all of the events and all of the interviewing that she's been having during that day. And she just comes in, the fire's going, pours herself a glass of red wine, she snuggles up to Johnny on the couch, and she just falls asleep. It was just like, oh, that's so good. Um,
Brilliant.
I've got one more here, and hang on. No, I've got one more here, and it is on page 302, where Ormond says that Porter has to be taken out. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
So,
Do you know what you're taking on, mate? I don't think
yeah,
so.
yeah. All right, what about something funny from the book? Could be anything, Rach.
So have you heard this phrase? It's a really English thing to say, no shit Sherlock.
Yes.
I get it in on page 260, chapter 40. Yes. No
Well
shit
done.
Sherlock.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that I got that in. And then
Did you
another
have that
thing
brewing
is
for a while? Was that like, yeah, I'm gonna
it
put it
must
in
have
here?
been.
Yeah.
Oh, it must have been. Um,
Oh, here it is. Yep.
another thing.
No shit, Sherlock. Since when?
No shit, Sherlock.
Yeah.
I love the exchange towards the end. Chapter no, it's not. Yeah, chapter 55, between Sharon and Millie, and they really connect. It's a really touching scene, but it's hilarious too, because obviously, Sharon is from the wrong side of the tracks. Millie's a very sort of, well-to-do, well-brought-up girl, but they really connect, and it's almost as if the mother who's lost her daughter and the daughter who's lost her mother.
Yeah.
um I
It's
love
so
that sort of
beautiful. Yeah.
interaction. Sharon is so straight talking, but that's okay with Millie, because she just sees, she doesn't get offended or shocked by the swearing. She just connects with Sharon because what she's saying is absolutely true, and it ends up with Millie trying her first cigarette.
Yes. Yeah.
Now Sharon.
And this was something that I've also written down, because I want to read a little piece out of the book, and it's on page 337, and it's the final scene with Sharon. It's one of the final scenes with Sharon and Millie, and Millie and Sharon are talking about swearing, and it turns to Millie saying, "I want loads of babies." And then Sharon's like, "Don't bother. They're not as cute as they look. All they do is shit and piss and scream. And then they turn into toddlers and scratch your eyes out. And eventually, the best bit, teenagers. Live your life instead. There are no guarantees. Travel, see the world, bed some gorgeous men." "Sharon," says Millie. It's like, "What? How old are you? 14? I was pregnant at your age."
Yeah, it's a real talking to, isn't it?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Millie and Sharon are having this really cool conversation, and yeah, she was
But they just
pregnant at
Yeah,
14.
I was pregnant at 14. What are
Yeah,
you doing?
yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
Oh, I can't. That's gone so quickly, that episode. I can't believe that we're at the end
I
already.
know, this has gone
Um,
so fast.
yeah, but what a belter. And I think that was definitely one of my favourites, Little Doubt. It's sort of a standout for me. We really hope you've enjoyed listening as much as we've loved chatting through it. And next up, the launch of Kelly 13.
Oh, mate.
Now it's due out on April the 16th. And actually, if you're watching on YouTube, then this is the stunning
Look at
cover.
that.
I absolutely love it. And it's set, a lot of the action is around Rydal Caves and Grasmere, and you've got these stepping stones into Rydal Cave.
Oh,
If you've ever been
wow.
there, you'll know that. If not, look it up online. It's stunning. It's like cathedral-like. So that's where it's set. And it's a special episode as well on how writing can be an unexpected source of resilience when life gets in the way. And if you've
Yeah.
seen my social media this week, you'll understand why. And so we'll be touching on, what it's like to try and come up with storylines, try and keep stuff going, when you've had really bad news. So we're going to do that next. So I hope you'll join us.
Fantastic. Well, I'm really super pumped to read Cruel Truth, and I can't believe that this is going to be number 13. That's unreal. And then read it and then explore it with you and also with the listeners. So it'll be available the 16th of April, and that will just be in all the regular bookstores. Is that right, Rach? And
Yeah,
online and all that sort of
yeah,
stuff?
it's a complete launch. So it's not in stages like the hardback of First Act was.
Okay.
It's a paperback, ebook, so it'll be everywhere from April the 16th, and it's available to pre-order now. So I'm really excited because it's been quite a break since the last Kelly.
Yeah, it has been, hasn't it? So it'll be really interesting. And then if you're in Australia, Dimmicks, so or your local library can order it in for you. All right, or you can finally you can watch. Oh Jesus! And finally, you can watch us bloopers and all. There's been plenty in this one on our YouTube channel, or listen to the playlist. So hit follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. Alrighty, Rach, that's another killer ep in the bag. How did you enjoy this one?
Loved it, always. And I can't believe that we're over halfway now in the Kelly series.
I know,
Because
right?
that was number 7, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Little Doubt.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And also, if you want us to discuss any particular aspect of writing, the process and the publishing world, we do that too as well. So if you've got any ideas for an episode on a subject like that, throw us a line, and we'll discuss it.
Absolutely. Sounds like a great idea. Alrighty, there's heaps more to come is what we're trying to say. Alrighty, that's it for us. Okie doke. Oh my God, I don't know what's going on. I think I'm
You're tired. It's late.
Okie doke. Over and out for now. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time, Rach.
Bye, Kristy.
I can't press stop.